So Yellowstone, Montana is one of my favorite places to travel. I love the mountains and all the different animals there. But with all of these different animals and all of these different people that travel there every year, there's bound to be some accidents and some animal encounters. Come along with me while I go through the national park records from 1986. So Yellowstone is primarily in Wyoming. It extends into Montana and Idaho as well. There's been a varying population of grizzly bears in Yellowstone over the years. Lately, one of the largest populations of grizzly bears in America is in Yellowstone and north of Yellowstone in Glacier National Park. The populations in Montana, or in Yellowstone in general, are around 700 to 800 bears, and the population in Montana is estimated around 1,200 bears. So with Montana having one of the highest populations of grizzly bears, in the 1980s there was actually 9 fatal grizzly bear attacks, 7 of which actually happened in Montana. Out of these attacks, 2 attacks actually happened right in Yellowstone, and 4 happened in Glacier National Park. Now Yellowstone has a lot of different animals. It has 67 different species of animals, and it has one of the most diverse ecosystems in the lower 48 states. Yellowstone's size encompasses about 3,500 miles. And now our stories are going to start May 25th, 1986. We're going to talk about a bear mauling in Yellowstone. So 2 men were in Montana, in Yellowstone, illegally horn hunting. Apparently they had done this before. They had been caught poaching 2 years prior and had felony convictions for this type of behavior. So these 2 men were out horn hunting and they saw 2 cubs and they immediately climbed fir trees. They went all the way up to 60 feet high, and the mama bear ran up the tree and yanked one guy out. He fell through the tree limbs, so it braced his fall. He landed on the ground and the bear immediately went down and started to attack his chest. When that was happening, his friend up in the tree screamed, and the bear ran up and attacked him and was attacking his feet, and he was kicking at the bear and kicking at the bear. And the friend that was on the ground got up and climbed back up the tree, and the bear ran down and got him again, yanked him out of the tree, and started to attack his shoulder, and he played dead, and the bear lost interest and took off. So the man that didn't get injured as much, he had the abrasions or the attack to his feet, ended up carrying the other man out that had the chest and the shoulder attack. So they ended up going to a hospital in Livingston. They had a puncture to their heel, severe attacks and lacerations to the chest, some lacerations to the shoulder, and some severe abrasions. Nothing life-threatening. As far as the bear, no action was taken against the bear. They're not 100% sure if it was a black bear or a grizzly bear because of the 60 feet that was climbed during this attack, but both men seem to think it was a grizzly bear that attacked them on this encounter. So now we're going to go right to the 4th of July, 1986. There were actually numerous incidents. So there was a hiker near Craig Pass, and he got chased by a bear, knocked down, and the bear bit his thigh and put 4 puncture wounds in it. No serious injuries. It depends who you ask, I guess. So he was okay. He lived and went on to tell another tale. The next story I'm a little hesitant to mention, but I guess there are 3 the word that rhymes with grapes in Yellowstone, apparently on the 4th of July, 1986. And then, there was also a bison goring. The location wasn't known, but the visitor got too close to the bison, and the bison ended up goring the person under the ribs, and the person may have had to undergo surgery. Interesting fact, did you know Yellowstone and Montana have killed over 10,300 bison in the last 25 years because they believe bison are at risk of spreading brucellosis to the cattle population, even though no cases have ever been detected. On July 20th, 1986, a French man was hiking near Turbid Lake. He basically all of a sudden saw an elk running toward him as if it was afraid. Soon after, he heard some rustling in the bushes, and then a mother grizzly and her cub came charging at him. He crouched down to protect himself, but the mama bear still attacked and gave severe puncture wounds to his shoulder, low back, and upper leg and lower leg. Basically, it sounds like she left him alone after that, and he was able to hike to the road and get a ride to the hospital, thank God. The campground around Turbid Lake was also closed after that time in an attempt to hope that the bear would be scared away or get bored with no human food around and leave the area to prevent further bear attacks. So on August 18th, 1986, I'm sad to say there was a two-vehicle collision that ended up being head-on. One of the drivers actually fell asleep and they struck the other drivers, or the other vehicle rather. I believe all three in one vehicle was killed and one in the other vehicle was not seriously injured. Car accidents have been the biggest killer in Yellowstone since it opened. In the last, or since 1980, so in the last 44 years, there have been 50 reported deaths from auto-related fatalities. On October 1986, the park actually had some vandalism. One of the park's geologists, Rick Hutchinson, discovered 6 of the geysers were actually vandalized. There was a big boulder that was actually blocking the rustic geyser, and other features were covered with debris. So on October 7th, 1986, a vehicle was found unattended. So the vehicle was actually found on October 4th. They first spotted the vehicle sitting there basically in a parking spot, and it was there the next day on October 5th, and there was no activity, so it looked suspicious, and they ran the tags. Basically, it came back to a man that lived in Billings, so they called his girlfriend. Basically, she said that he went to Yellowstone to do some photography. Upon further investigation, they could not find him. On the 6th of October, they did a search and they still could not find him. They had a helicopter search plan for October 7th. A lot of the bears in Yellowstone have what's called a tracking device on them, and they basically noticed that bear number 59 hadn't been moving in quite some time, and it coincidentally was near the car that was abandoned on the side of the road there in a parking spot. So they went and checked on bear number 59 and they found him feeding on a body. I'm sure that was a horrible scene to walk up on. I'm guessing then at that point the bear ran away, and later they found the bear and neutralized the bear. Bear number 59 actually didn't have any previous history of human encounters, but it had been moved several times, and we'll talk more about that here in just a second. So the person was later identified as photographer William Tasinski. He was from the Billings area. Like I say, he was out taking photographs. He actually got too close to a female grizzly trying to take her picture. She charged him, mauled him, and did what bears do. Very terrible story. Very, very sad to hear. I looked up his obituary. He looked like a very, very nice person. Someone that's out taking photographs in Yellowstone is obviously connected to nature and, most likely a decent person. Very, very sad to hear because it would be a very, very difficult way to go, This was the first time a bear attack had happened since 1984 in Yellowstone, when a Swiss hiker was pulled from her tent and attacked and killed right in Yellowstone. And this was actually only the 5th bear attack since 1916. So there haven't been many bear attacks reported in Yellowstone. A lot of them happen right on the outskirts, or maybe the cause of death is unknown. So we're going to talk a little bit about bear number 59. We're just going to talk about how many times she was moved before this attack. I have a little cheat sheet, so forgive me. So Grizzly 59 was born in Yellowstone Park in 78, and the Bear Management Office would first capture 59 on July 24th, 1980, near Canyon, Yellowstone National Park. And remember, Canyon, Yellowstone National Park. She was relocated to Shelf Lake, Yellowstone National Park. 1 year later, Bear Management Office captured 59 again in Canyon, Yellowstone National Park, so she went back to her home. She was relocated to Death Ridge, Yellowstone. In 1983, her collar failed, and Grizzly 59 was captured again on June 16th and relocated at Antelope Creek, Yellowstone National Park. So basically, from there, during the 1985, her collar would fail and she would be observed with offspring. And a little bit later, she was observed with no offspring, implying that she had lost her cubs. So on September 4th, 1986, she was captured in Canyon, Yellowstone National Park for the third time and relocated with her cub to Cub Creek for management purposes. So I don't know why they would keep taking the bear from the place that it wanted to be. In 33 days, Grizzly 59 would travel westward towards Hayden Valley, where she would meet her demise by killing William and ultimately getting herself killed by park rangers. Very sad story for both the bear and especially for William. I just imagine the bear, if aliens or something that seemed alien to me kept taking me from my home and moving me or relocating me, and I went back to my home and they took me away. When I saw those aliens or creatures that I wasn't familiar with, I would be likely angry with them and afraid that they're going to take me or kidnap me and relocate me again, especially when they're getting closer, and that's probably maybe what she thought William was doing with his camera, is that maybe she thought he was going to shoot with a tranquilizer dart. Who knows? Hard to know. Bears don't talk. So anyways, the bear was captured 6 times in total and lost its cubs twice, so that's kind of a sad story. So despite the large numbers of visitors who travel to Yellowstone each year, with hundreds of bears in the region, there's only a few bear and human incidents. During the past 30 years, there has been less than 1 injury per 1 million visitors to Yellowstone. Well, back in the 30s, there was 175 injuries per 1 million. So injuries have been reduced, wildlife management of the bears and human interactions have improved, and Yellowstone is a pretty safe place overall. You kind of got to be careful where you go. Also be careful of bears. Keep a can of bear spray, and be careful of auto accidents. As I mentioned, that is one of the most dangerous things to do in Yellowstone is drive. With all of the mountains and hills and all the visitors, it's just kind of bound to happen. Water is also another big danger. So be careful of those things and enjoy your next trip to Yellowstone.